Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Bachelor Nation news fans. Reality TV stars Joan Vassos and Chock Chapel are moving closer to finding their dream New York City home. The Golden Bachelorette favorites, who got engaged after their romance on the show, revealed they may have found the perfect place. "We think we found a place," Joan shared at iHeartRadio's Jingle Ball in Los Angeles on December 6th. "Our realtor in New York sent us a video tour, and it looks great, so we're hoping it's done." The couple's wish lists weren't entirely aligned. Joan wanted a spacious walk-in closet, while Chock dreamed of a smoking patio for cigars with friends. Still, Joan insisted, "If we find a great place that doesn't have one, the walk-in closet wins." After touring 20 apartments in 3 weeks, the couple's eyes are set on a Soho unit. "The inventory is super low this time of year," Joan explained, "but we're keeping our fingers crossed that this is the one." The pair got engaged during the Golden Bachelorette Season 1 finale. Image, Getty. While Joan and Chock have been blending their lives together, they've learned to navigate small quirks. "I took her cell phone charger," Chock admitted. "I'll never do that again." Joan chimed in, "It's a pet peeve. I think I have PTSD from my kids and their friends stealing my chargers." The duo made it clear they aren't rushing to get married. "Right now, it feels good to just be a couple," Joan said. "Maybe in a year-ish." Chock added, "We're excited. It's going to be fun to watch Joan take charge of Silver Dreams." When the camera stopped rolling and the final rose was handed out, Joan Vassos and Chock Chapel found themselves standing on a sun-kissed balcony overlooking the Pacific. The Golden Bachelorette journey had introduced them to America as late-in-life lovers, but off-screen, it was a different kind of journey that would test, strengthen, and ultimately reward their bond, the search for a new home. Joan, glowing with post-show serenity and a newfound sense of adventure, sat curled up in a cozy reading chair in her temporary rental in Santa Monica. Chock, ever the planner and romantic, had his laptop open beside her, flipping through real estate listings. "What about this one? 2-bedroom, high ceilings, ocean view, and it's pet-friendly," he said, turning the screen toward her. Joan leaned in, her silver blonde hair falling softly against her cheek. "Chock, that's beautiful. But are you sure it's not too close to the pier? Remember the noise we heard last week?" Chock chuckled. "I suppose you're right. But don't you love the idea of being able to walk to the farmer's market?" She smiled. "Only if you promise to give me flowers every Sunday." He reached for her hand. "It's a deal." From showbiz to real life. Though many reality TV romances falter under the weight of fame and fast timelines, Chock and Joan's connection only deepened after the finale. They had both lived full lives before meeting on the show, and this second chance at love felt like a precious gift neither wanted to take for granted. But with Joan based in Maryland and Chock calling Arizona home, geography was a formidable opponent. They knew a long-distance relationship wasn't sustainable long-term. "We need neutral ground," Joan had said over dinner one night, sharing a bottle of red wine. "Agreed," Chock replied. "Someplace fresh. Ours." So began the great apartment search. Initially, they focused on the East Coast, Annapolis, Charleston, even the quaint neighborhoods of Savannah. But each location presented its own hiccups. Too humid, too expensive, too far from their families. Then one afternoon, while flipping through Joan's scrapbook of her travels, Chock paused a photo of them laughing outside a vintage bookshop in Carmel by the Sea. "What about California?" he asked. Joan's eyes lit up. "You think we could actually make that work?" And just like that, California became their target. Hidden gems and Hollywood dreams. Apartment hunting in California was no walk on the beach. The couple toured upscale condos in Santa Barbara, seaside lofts in Laguna, and Art Deco apartments in Pasadena. Joan loved the history and charm of older buildings, while Chock leaned toward modern amenities and clean lines. "It's like trying to blend Monet with Bauhaus," Joan joked after touring a particularly contrasting set of listings. Despite the challenges, the process brought them closer. They laughed at awkward staging choices, bonded over floor plans, and discovered how in sync their preferences were where it really mattered. Light, coziness, a reading nook, and non-negotiable, a balcony garden. Joan began documenting their journey on Instagram, sharing clips of them dancing in empty apartments, playfully arguing over kitchen islands, and indulging in celebratory gelato after each viewing. Fans from the show followed eagerly, rooting for them with hashtags like #Goldenest and #JoanandChock4Life. The media caught on too. "Golden Bachelorette lovebirds apartment hunt sparks joy." Read one headline. "A serendipitous Sunday." It was a rainy Sunday in June when fate intervened. They had just come from a disappointing showing in West Hollywood, their spirits slightly deflated. "Let's call it a day," Joan sighed, slipping into her coat. Chock, ever the optimist, pointed to a listing he'd saved last minute. "One more? It's on the edge of Brentwood, just a walk-through." Joan raised a brow, but nodded. "Lead the way, Mr. Chapel." They pulled up to a Spanish-style building nestled between two flowering jacaranda trees. Inside, they found terracotta tiles, arched doorways, and a sun-drenched living room that opened onto a terrace wrapped in bougainvillea. "It feels like Tuscany," Joan whispered. "It feels like home," Chock said. They didn't need to say another word. By sundown, they had placed a deposit. The announcement. 2 weeks later, Joan and Chock took to Instagram Live to share their big news. "We found it," Joan beamed, holding up a miniature version of their new key. Chock stood beside her grinning. "We can't wait to show you the space, and maybe even film a little golden home tour for you all." The comments flooded in with heart emojis, virtual champagne, and messages of joy. In an exclusive interview with the popular lifestyle magazine, Joan opened up further. "This apartment isn't just a place to live. It's our fresh start. We've both loved deeply, lost deeply. And this move is symbolic of the hope we share now, a future together." They also revealed plans to split their time between California and visiting their grown children and grandchildren on the East Coast. "We're keeping our roots," Chock explained, "but planting new ones too. Home sweet Hollywood." Move-in day was a beautiful chaos. Boxes labeled Joan's books, Chock's records, and together stuff stacked high. Their children pitched in, while their grandchildren ran giggling through the empty halls. Joan chose warm neutrals with gold accents for their bedroom, while Chock transformed a spare room into a cozy music den with vintage posters and vinyl. On their first night, they ordered pizza, lit candles, and danced slowly to Etta James in the living room. "This doesn't feel real," Joan said, resting her head on Chock's shoulder. "It's as real as it gets," he replied. "Community, connection, and the future." They soon became beloved neighbors. Joan hosted a book club. Chock organized movie nights in the courtyard. They adopted a rescue cat named Muffin, who quickly took ownership of the window seat. They even got involved with local causes. Joan championed senior women's wellness initiatives, while Chock volunteered with a music therapy program. Their new apartment became more than a backdrop. It was a heartbeat in their golden years. They continued to share glimpses online, not as influencers, but as reminders that love at any age deserves celebration. The letter. Months later, Joan received a letter from a fan. "I'm 62, widowed, and afraid to love again. Watching you and Chock reminded me that it's never too late. Thank you for inspiring me to take a chance." Joan teared up as she read it aloud. "You think we're helping people?" she asked. Chock took her hand. "I know we are." A golden legacy. On their 1-year move-in anniversary, Joan and Chock hosted a rooftop dinner for their closest friends. String lights glowed above as music played softly in the background. They toasted to second chances, to bravery, and to home. "Here's to everyone who's searching," Joan said. "May you find more than a place. May you find your peace, your purpose, your person." Chock added, "And may you never underestimate the power of a Sunday drive and a spontaneous apartment showing." The view from the balcony. As the sun dipped into the Pacific and painted their new life in golden light, Joan and Chock stood hand in hand on their beloved balcony. They didn't need to say a word. The breeze, the laughter from below, the scent of gardenias, they were home. The morning sun spilled golden light over the hills of Santa Monica as Joan Vassos, the radiant star of the Golden Bachelorette, opened the French doors of her rented bungalow. The Pacific breeze kissed her cheeks as she stretched, a rare smile tugging at the corners of her lips. Beside her, Chock Chapel, her silver-haired Southern gentleman with a heart as kind as his smile, carried 2 mugs of cinnamon-spiced coffee, their favorite morning ritual since the finale wrapped. It had been 5 whirlwind months since the camera stopped rolling and the rose petals settled. While some golden bachelorette romances fizzled in the glow of studio lights, Joan and Chock's connection only deepened with time. They were deliberate, slow, intentional, seasoned by life, and healed by love. And now they were finally ready for the next big step. "We have 24 hours before the moving truck gets here," Chock said with a sly grin, handing her a mug. Joan laughed, pressing her hand to her heart. "Still doesn't feel real, Chock. We're really doing this, aren't we?" He nodded, setting his coffee down on the balcony table and pulling her gently into a hug. We found our place, Joni. The kind we used to dream about when we were younger, but now we actually know what to look for. The apartment search that captivated the nation. After their engagement aired during the Golden Bachelorette finale, fans couldn't get enough of Chock and Joan. They weren't just another reality couple. They were hope. Proof that love doesn't come with an expiration date. So when the couple announced they'd be moving in together and searching for an apartment in Southern California, social media went into a frenzy. TikTok clips of their open house tours went viral. Chock trying to squeeze into a clawfoot tub, Joan gently mocking his aversion to anything mid-century modern. The hashtag Goldeness trended for days, with fans begging for a spin-off series, Golden Bachelorette, House Hunters. But beneath the laughs and Instagram reels was a very real dilemma. We both have homes, Joan explained in a heartfelt YouTube video, but we're building a shared life now, a space that's not just mine or his, something new, something ours. And so the journey began. The narrow misses. Their search took them through dozens of neighborhoods, Silver Lake, Brentwood, Venice Beach. There was the condo with the infinity pool Joan adored, until Chock discovered the entire building had no elevator. "There's no chance I'm dragging groceries up 6 flights," he'd muttered, shaking his head. Then came the beach bungalow that charmed them both, until Joan realized it had 1 bedroom, and Chock snored like a tractor during allergy season. "But think of the romance, Chock," she teased. "Romance don't mean much if neither of us gets any sleep." Still, every misstep brought them closer, not farther apart. Each rejection revealed a new priority: natural light, proximity to their favorite coffee shop, a patio for morning chats. It wasn't about square footage. It was about building a sanctuary. The unexpected turn. The real estate agent Maribel, who quickly became a fan favorite on social media thanks to her blunt honesty and designer shoes, called them late one Tuesday. "There's a place off Melrose that just hit the market. Not officially listed yet. It's quirky, but I think it's got your names written all over it." Joan looked at Chock. "You up for a spontaneous viewing?" Always, he grinned. They arrived at twilight. The house was a 2-bedroom craftsman with ivy crawling up the front porch and a lemon tree blooming in the backyard. Inside, it was warm and lived in. A reading nook with bay windows. Hardwood floors with just the right amount of creak. A kitchen that invited conversation, not just cooking. As they wandered through the 2nd bedroom, sun-soaked and small, Joan paused. "This could be my painting room," she whispered. Chock, standing behind her, nodded. "Or a nursery for grandkids visiting." That stopped her. She turned. His eyes softened. "I mean, if they come by. Just saying, it feels like a home, Joni." It did. The golden update that melted hearts. On July 6th, Joan and Chock sat down for a live stream from the newly empty bungalow, the place where they'd shared their first real toast away from cameras, the place that bore witness to their vulnerable moments as 2 grown adults risking their hearts again. Joan wore a soft blue linen dress, her golden hair pulled back into a carefree twist. Chock sat beside her in a simple polo, smiling like he had a secret. And then Joan leaned toward the camera. "We found it," she said. Chock added, "And we got it." The chat exploded. "You did it. I've never been so emotionally invested in an apartment search. Proof love is worth waiting for." Then came the twist. Chock pulled out a tiny velvet box, not for a ring, but a keychain shaped like a house. "We'll be sharing photos," Joan continued, "but this was something we really wanted to do just for us first. A home built on laughter, compromise, and yes, plenty of Pinterest arguments." Moving day. The following weekend, fans caught glimpses of the move through snapshots posted by friends and curious neighbors. Chock insisted on doing the heavy lifting himself. "I was a linebacker in '68, remember?" While Joan unpacked sentimental items with care, her late husband's painting, a porcelain angel gifted by her daughter, and a framed photo from the Golden Bachelorette finale, where she first whispered, "I love you," into Chock's ear off mic. That night, surrounded by boxes and battery-powered lamps, they ordered Chinese takeout and ate on the floor. No plates, just 2 people in their 70s navigating a new chapter with the giddy awkwardness of newlyweds. Joan took a bite of egg roll and laughed. "We're absolutely ridiculous." Chock leaned in, ridiculously happy. The surprise room reveal. Weeks later, Joan shared an Instagram reel that sent fans into a collective meltdown. Soft piano music played over a video tour of their home. The kitchen now sparkled with copper pots and vintage finds. Their bedroom bore matching reading lamps and a rustic four-poster bed. The living room featured a plush navy couch with a plaque above the fireplace that read, Chapter 2. But the final scene revealed something no one expected. That sunny spare room? It had been transformed into a cozy art meets music studio. One corner had an easel and canvas, paint supplies neatly arranged beside a cup of chamomile tea. The opposite wall held Chock's prized record player and a shelf full of jazz vinyls. The caption read, "He gets his jazz. I get my watercolors. We both get peace. Hashtag goldenest hashtag or plays hashtag live after 60. The letter that went viral. A few days later, Joan penned a heartfelt open letter that ran in AARP magazine. It touched on something deeper than real estate. This apartment isn't just a place to live. It's where I learned to love again. It's where I faced the fear of letting someone in after loss. And it's where we remind each other every day that starting over is not just possible, it can be beautiful." She ended with a piece of advice. To anyone who thinks it's too late, it's not. Start the search. Even if it's for an apartment, you just might find it forever. What's next? As for what comes after the big move, Joan hinted that wedding plans are being quietly discussed. Not a televised event, just close friends, grandkids, and a sunset ceremony, perhaps in the garden of their new home. Chock's response. Joan gets her dream backyard wedding. I get to see her in white one more time. That's all I want. The golden glow. Their story, rooted in love, laughter, and a little bit of real estate hustle, has become a beacon for people across generations. Whether you're 27 or 72, Joan and Chock's journey reminds us that love is not a race or a game. It's a choice, one made every day in coffee mugs, keychains, creaky floors, and Chinese takeout. And in their little corner of Los Angeles, inside a house touched by sunlight and second chances, that love continues to grow. Because for Joan and Chock, this apartment wasn't just a move, it was the beginning of everything.